Flavio has been arrested for murder, and this, of course, following the body parts that were discovered in his fridge at his home in Soweto.
The 23-year-old's body parts, or some of them, found in Hlabangwane's fridge.
The discovery of the brutal murder of 24-year-old Tshepang Pitse shocked many South Africans.
South Africa is arguably one of the most beautiful countries in the world. It has some of the best features, tourist attractions that attract over 2 million tourists a year, and music that is so rhythmic. It will have you doing the Gwara Gwara in no time. However, in every beautiful country there's always an ugly side. South Africa has had some of the most shocking domestic violence cases in recent time. According to a 2021 report, 1 in 5 women had experienced physical violence by a partner, and 27% of women, aged 15 to 49, have reported some sort of physical or sexual violence by their intimate partner. Today we will be exploring one of these shocking cases. Flavio Hlabangwe lived a seemingly simple life. He went to university and always thrived academically, and he had a successful career as an actuarial analyst, which is a good career which averages 550,000 rand per year, which is a very desirable salary in South Africa. Tshepang Pitse was a young and family-oriented woman who friends would describe as larger than life. She was from Soweto in Johannesburg, from a small village called Saulsport, also known as Moruleng, and she attended Aurora Girls High School in Soweto. Her mother was a nurse who is passionate about caring for the vulnerable, and she wanted nothing more than to follow in her footsteps. So she did. Tshepang took it upon herself to travel to London in order to start her career as a nurse. She went independently, but ensured she kept in constant contact with her family back home. Everything was going well for Tshepang in her pursuits, but unfortunately, there was a change of events when her mother died. To give Tshepang a change of environment, she moved in with her mother's sister, Grace Hlabangwe. Grace Hlabangwe was a lovely woman who prided herself on family and was religious. She was often described as kind and nurturing by the locals. You're probably wondering why Grace Hlabangwe is even worth mentioning, right? And what relevance it has to the overall story. Grace and Tshepang's mother were sisters. Yep, you heard that right. They were biological sisters, which means that Flavio and Tshepang were cousins. Now, we're not one to judge, but does any good really come of incestuous relationships? Flavio was not still in his mum's house, whilst Tshepang was there because he was off to university. But that did not stop them from having a strong platonic relationship. This is because they had a strong mutual ground. They both loved books, music, and spending time with friends. I guess their compatibility made them feel like friendship was not enough because they both decided to pursue a romantic relationship. Family supposedly had no idea that their friendship had turned to a romantic relationship, which a lot of people found hard to believe. I mean, here's some pictures of them together. What do you think? Would you say that they are just friends? Not too long into the relationship, Flavio started to show all the textbook signs of a toxic abuser. He would have say over her dress sense, money management, and even who she kept as friends. As the two got deeper into their relationship, some friends caught wind of their relationship. Even her friend Talusi found out, and she was not happy about the relationship. But most importantly, she was not happy about the way her friend was treated by Flavio. On one occasion, Talusi and Flavio got into a heated discussion about how he was treating Tshepang. Relationships were being severed and Sipang was being distanced from her loved ones, which meant that Sipang was in the perfect position for Flavio, because now she was vulnerable. This is when the abuse worsened. Flavio took the abuse to a new height. He would force Sipang to call him king. He would have angry outbursts when she didn't cook his favorite meals. He controlled her money and he would dictate her hairstyles. She had no freedom of expression and was rapidly becoming a shell of herself. Sipang wanted out and she expressed that multiple times, and that's when Flavio decided to increase his stronghold on her by proposing. And unfortunately she said yes, but her heart was elsewhere. She started cheating on him, and when Flavio confronted him with text exchanges from other men, she confessed and was extremely apologetic. Flavio claimed to forgive her, but deep down he was burning with rage and had started researching different means of getting revenge. The relationship continued and the financial abuse heightened. At this point, Flavio was using her card all the time he went to the shops, even to buy something as little as a bottle of water. On one sunny day, Flavio went to the shop again with Sipang's card, and on this occasion she was fed up, so she confronted him. This exchange turned into a heated argument. He couldn't take his ego being challenged, so he pushed her and she smashed her head on a stool. If that wasn't enough, he took a knife and stabbed her in the left side of her neck. Sipang did not survive the fall. Thankfully, they did not believe him, and they barged in.
My house relaxed. So on our Kasi WhatsApp group, I received a voice note from one of my neighbors who sounded so distressed on the voice note. So he explained that we need to rush to his house because there is an emergency there. So as I left my house to go to his house, I found two of my neighbors already there because we have a Kasi group. So on that, I found a traumatized young lady who explained that he had visited one of the boyfriends, a boyfriend, not one of the boyfriends, but a boyfriend. So apparently she was hungry, and then the guy decided that he will leave the house to go and buy food. So I guess she couldn't wait, and then she decided to open the fridge to check if maybe there's water or any food in the freezer. As he opened because it's a double door fridge, so the freezer is on top. So when she opened the freezer, she saw plastic bags. So it's not just one, about 4 or 5 plastic bags inside. And she opened, and when she checked on the plastic, when she touched the plastic, she felt a hand, like it's a hand.
They knew it was human remains, so in a horrified state, they called the police. The police arrived at his house and arrested him immediately. But Flavio insisted he needed to go back in the house to get something. Stupidly, the police let him back in unattended. They then heard sounds of distress, so they ran in, and that's when they found Flavio bleeding out from his hands. There was blood everywhere, and he had also drank a poisonous fluid. Unfortunately, he survived. You see, Flavio knew that this would divert him from being the suspect and make him a victim, because now instead of arresting Flavio, he needed to be rushed to hospital. News quickly circulated around the area, but there was no name to the victim who had been found cut up in a freezer. The news was quickly circulating the local village, then the whole of Soweto. Then the news became global. Sipang's family had been glued to their phone, refreshing the social media feeds and news outlets. Friends were expressing concerns on social media, but ultimately praying she was okay. Some weeks went by and Flavio appeared in court and his victim's name was now confirmed. The vivacious medical student, who had so much to live for, was found dead at the tender age of 23. Rest in peace. I'm so sorry you died in such unfortunate circumstances. The details that emerged when Flavio Hlabangwe was on trial was horrifying. It emerged that Flavio had been plotting to kill Sipang since he learnt she had been cheating. He had pushed her and she hit her head. That much was true, but what also came to light was that he also purchased a knife specifically to cut Sipang's body into pieces. He decided that he would keep her limbs and hands and discarded the head and torso.
We have actually buried the parts, not the whole body. So we can actually get the torso, will be satisfied.
The National Prosecuting Authority says Hlabangwane continues to mislead the court as to where the remaining body parts are, but the NPA says it will continue assisting the family.
We have not yet found the torso as the state. Investigations continues. The information that was given by the accused court before court could not assist either.
Till this day, Flavio had not disclosed where the head and torso is. Unfortunately, when Sipang was buried in 2022, she was not buried with all her body parts. This just shows how demented and cruel Flavio was. In court, speculations also started circulating that the only reason Flavio married Desapang was to inherit Desapang's late mother's inheritance money. Flavio was not only a murderous coward, he was also extremely calculated. Till this day, it is still unclear as to whether Sipang's family knew about the status of their relationship. Many have said that it is hard to believe that Flavio's mother was unaware, but I think one thing we can agree on is that Sipang deserved more. On January 31st, 2023, 28-years-old Flavio was sentenced to life imprisonment, charged with the premeditated murder of his cousin and lover Sipang Pesai. Flavio was sentenced to 10 years for defeating the ends of justice and 15 years for violating a corpse. The two sentences will run concurrently with life imprisonment. Do you think the sentence was just? Thanks for tuning in. See you next time on Crime on Steroids.